Another little trick that I've used here, you can see I've got canvas X and canvas Y in the same way that I might have told a couple of you to do when you're developing your glyph. The way that you do that with the wallpaper framework is to set your canvas X and canvas Y right at the top of the page, and then plug them into the cell width and the cell height. And then later on, if you're drawing things based on the canvas X and canvas Y, like here I've got how the glyph is placed, you can just do that by having canvas X, canvas Y. And the point of that is basically so I can say that I want to draw this at 0.5 times the size of each cell on the X direction and 0.5 times the size of the cell in the Y direction. So if I were to change that to 0.2, and it'll move it back on the X-axis. If I were to change that to 0.8, it'll move it down or like in the positive on the Y-axis. And to me, I think this is like a more considered thing to do than just using number coordinates. And once you get used to sort of having modifiers like this on a scalable variable, it can help you write code which is a lot easier to keep track of than just calculating pixel coordinates. This isn't necessary for this project, but if you want to do that, then I do recommend it. Now, how this example file that I made is set up is to basically draw this entire glyph using one function. So this is a glyph that I was making in the 200 by 200 template at one point, but decided that I wanted it to be something which could be rewritten a few times, and I'll quickly give a couple examples of that. Primary color. Yeah, so that's drawn 3 of it in every cell. And how I did that is to use functions, which was something introduced in I think week 2. A little bit tricky to get a hang of, and not a direct requirement for the project, so if you don't want to do them at this point, that's fine. But I would definitely say that this would be a way to have 3 parameters that give you a bit more control over how things are placed on the screen. See, I've got an X position and a Y position here, that whenever in the draw loop my symbol is used, I give it an X and a Y position, and then everything in the code for this is drawn based on that X position and Y position. So X position minus the size times 3, Y position plus the size times 0.3. And the other thing that's being done here is that it's using this variable glyph size to scale everything basically. So you can see that the size of the circle is glyph size times 0.4, and the glyph size that's being used is tied to the size of the canvas. Another way I thought I could explain the X and Y position is just by drawing a glyph using all of the parameters that I've used here. So maybe if I just make the X position, because we know we're working at 200 by 200 for the cell size, go 140, 160, then for the size, maybe 100, and for the primary color, go, well, not the purple one, that's the background, to maroon color, that's drawn them all. I'll go gold colour. And that's drawn them all at the size of 100, because that's that's what I've scaled everything based off of. Like this outer circle is the glyph size, so 100 times 0.9, so 90, so they're all actually 90. Times 0.75 is that one there. And so on with the smaller and smaller circles. It's drawn them at the X position and Y position of 140 and 160, so that's like 140 along, 160 down. And using the gold colour, because the gold colour is used as glyph primary, and glyph primary is the stroke colour for everything. I just had another idea for a kind of thing that you could do if you have a size parameter that you're basing everything off of. If you don't, this is just kind of a potential reason to use a variable for your size of things. Like everything here is drawn, like all these circles, they're like X position, Y position, then this size, which at the moment is everything's drawn in comparison to the 100 here. If I go var size mod equals 2. Now you could take any sort of size parameter and go times size mod, and it's going to draw everything twice as big. And now that means that anybody, like somebody grading your work, potentially could go size mod equals 3, and now everything's 3 times as big. I don't recommend this to go this big, but it's kind of fun.